I am watching through the woods at night. I'm watching with my thermal, just looking for any heat signatures I can find, anything, just so I know they're there and they're okay. And I finally see something coming through the woods. It was just a heat signature, and it was all the leaves and twigs and trees and brush. I was just seeing bits and pieces, but I thought, okay, they're here. I think this is them. Who else would be out in the woods at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night? Right. So, well, it wasn't them.
Well, hey everybody, welcome back.
Hey everyone.
This is Generation X Paranormal. I'm Logan.
And I'm Nicole.
Guys, we're just getting pretty much back from break. This is, a few episodes in, but one thing that did happen is we got a 3D printer. And if anybody else has gone down this rabbit hole, you'd be surprised at things that you can maybe print. I think I've printed...
He looks for things to print.
Yeah, it's like
what can I print?
Yeah.
What can I print?
She's like, hey, I'm thinking about going to the store to buy this. And why go to the store? I can print it. Like, yeah, you could really print an apple,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Thanks you, Mark and Tina, for this.
It is true. It is who it came from. But anyway, guys, we have a great show. Again, we usually kind of cover mostly the ghosts and UFOs and things like that, but of course we also love cryptids, and we just don't do them as much, but when we do, we try to bring you guys something different, something new. And we try to bring you a great guest, and today, guys, we have a great guest.
Yes, we
we have Carter Buschardt, and we met Carter.
Yeah, we met him at Missouri Paracon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great. Went to the first Missouri Paracon, and if you guys haven't bought tickets yet, you need to make it to the second one. There's some good guests there, guys. Well,
some good vendors.
We just may be there ourselves. Anyway, what can you tell us about Carter?
So Carter Buschardt has been an investigator with BFRO, which is...
I believe it's Bigfoot Research Organization.
Mm-hmm.
I could be butchering that, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but that's what I believe it is.
For the last 13 years, he has had nearly 100 reports published to the BFRO website and has interviewed over 450 witnesses and counting.
Jeez.
He is an experienced outdoorsman and trained as an investigator for MUFON. He has had a long-time special interest in Sasquatch habituation sites, burial research, infrasound language, and stick structures. He's a self-published writer and author. And the 4 books that he has out right now is Sasquatch, Evidence of an Enigma, books 1 through 4. Mm-hmm. He's also the author of Baptized by Abduction, which chronicles his abduction, which we're not going to get to today, but maybe another time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Love to talk to him about that. Mm-hmm. But I can't wait to talk to him. We like I said, we met him at Paracon, and
he had the cast.
Yeah, he had
Bigfoot cast.
Yeah, he had a Bigfoot cast there.
Bigfoot foot cast, I should say.
The Bigfoot foot cast. Man,
I say Bigfoot cast. It's like the whole body there. The Bigfoot foot cast.
Oh my gosh, it's hot out here, guys.
Yeah, my brain has been cooked.
We're cooked. Listen, let's not waste any time. Let's talk to Carter. Well, hey Carter, welcome to Generation X Paranormal.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I just got out of jail this evening, so
that's good because
I'm kind of hungry. But let's do it.
By the time this is over, we might actually all be headed to jail. Who knows? But
yeah,
but
I
hey,
hope so.
Yeah, or 3 squares in a cot, right? That's the figure. But listen, before we jump into anything, and we're going to get to obviously your books and obviously some of the research that you're involved with. But the one thing I usually try to pick apart with our guests is something that is innately not paranormal. And I think we might have talked about this when we met at Missouri Paracon, or I just may have dreamt it. I'm not sure, but you're a drummer, right?
Yeah, I was a drummer. I was a drummer for about 20 years.
Right.
And yeah, I had some really, really good bands. You know, we came up at the same time as Stevie Ray Vaughan in the Thunderbirds, and we're all from Texas. So
Sure.
yeah, I've done a lot of stuff. You know, we I was in a band. We opened for the Who. We've opened for the Cars, Journey, Taj Mahal. I've lost track. You
That's
know,
awesome.
Very
hip hop was
cool.
really good back in the '60s and '70s. So
Yeah, it cleaned it up a bit nowadays, but
yeah,
yeah, no, that's great. So okay, I gotta ask every drummer. So I play guitar, but when I talk to every drummer, it's usually one name, and I want to make sure that name's pretty much the same. Who's the best?
Pete Townsend.
Pete Townsend.
No,
No,
yeah,
that's a guitar player.
Keith Moon. Keith
Okay.
Moon's in my, and I met Keith, and you know, but he was just wild, unbridled, crazy. Bono too, really. Of course, they did bad damage to themselves and left way too early. But either of those two, I would model myself after if
That's
I was
awesome.
gonna answer.
I'm always interested because whenever being somebody who's been into music as long as I have, I'm usually really curious about those sort of things. And you know, it's not a
Somebody asked
paranormal.
me about that today. Somebody said, "How about Neil Peart?" I said, "Well, he was awesome. He's so technical that I couldn't touch him, but you know, I could play some mean blues and shuffles, and he might not have been able
Sure.
to touch that. But we'll never know. He's
Yeah,
gone, and
he's
I'm on
gone
my way."
too. Not too fast though.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
too
Slow down.
So aside from the drums, before we kind of get into things, we know who you are, but obviously we kind of have a pretty broad audience. Can you tell them a little bit about yourself before we get into kind of the meat and potatoes of everything?
Yeah. Well, I live in Kansas City, Missouri, Liberty, Missouri. Actually, I got into Sasquatch research kind of by accident. I saw the show with Leonard Nimoy, In Search of.
Yes.
And I don't know when that was, '70s sometime. And
Yeah,
I
late
saw that.
'70s, early '80s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I saw that, Patty, and I just said, that's real. I want to do that. I mean, it didn't occur to me that it wasn't real. And there's other reasons I hypothesized that I knew it was real, but that's a whole other show, But my wife and I took a trip to Washington State, and this was 17 years ago, I think. And it was when marijuana had just been legalized in Washington State.
Oh boy.
And we weren't really paying attention to that, but we rented a cabin out in the middle of nowhere. And the guys we rented it from said, well, you've got to be very careful because if you're going to go take a hike, the illegal pot growers are very protective of their property and their plants. And there was a lot of really bad crime going on, some murders and shootings and stuff where people were accidentally walking up on a grow field, and it didn't turn out well. So anyway, we were hiking. I had to take a leak, and thank God I did. And I went to this tree, and at the base of the tree, there's a full-blown ammo box chained to the tree. And I'm sitting there going, oh, great, I just found somebody's stash. I'm dead. That's what I was thinking. But, long story short, I did my business, and I decided to go ahead and poke it with a stick, which I did. I'm left-handed, so I was poking it with my right hand in case it blew up. I could still write. That was my logic. But it turned out to be a geocache game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You familiar with that?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
So it's geocache, and it's a game that people all over the world play, I guess. And you get geo coordinates. You just get longitude, latitude coordinates, and you have to find wherever this is. And then they, like this box, there's a box or a buried treasure or a buried chest or something where you open it up and you sign your name, you take something out, and you put something in and leave it. And that was the deal. Well, the very first thing on top was the business card of a Sasquatch investigator. So it was all supposed to happen. I was wanting it to, but I didn't know how, and I hadn't even been on an expedition. I'd been researching them and reading on them and watching what I could, but had other things to do. I just got married, so anyway, I call the guy when I get back to Kansas City. And long story short, I went on an expedition here in Missouri. And a year later, I was leading expeditions. They fired the guy who was leading expeditions, and I've led 4 expeditions. I've had 100 reports published to BFRO. Published. That's not just turned in. They're published.
Wow.
I've turned in a lot more. That's a lot of reports.
Yeah.
Huge amount.
So that's what got me going, and I led my first expedition. 2011 or 12, somewhere in there. And a long story short, because we're only for an hour, right? That's all we got.
Sure, whatever. We'll do our best either way.
No, but that's fine. That's fine. But we broke up into 2 groups. My group was stationary close to our camp, and the other group left with someone who had some experience, and we're going to make a big circuitous route. This is about 11 o'clock at night, and just do a big circle. And so we were going to sit in one place, and they were going to keep in touch with us with radio. But that didn't work very well because we were in a holler, and so were they, and the radio was crap. We couldn't hear them, find them. Plus, they got lost. So we got this panic group out there, just with a bunch of rookie people who maybe camped a couple of times, but other than that, they're in the middle of a Martre National Forest at midnight. Not real heavy. So anyway, long story short, we maintain silence, radio silence, because we could not hear. We could just get enough verbiage out of it that we could tell they were lost and couldn't find the trail because they passed the trail that they were supposed to come back. So anyway, I'm watching through the woods at night. I'm watching with my thermal, just looking for any heat signatures I can find, anything, just so I know they're there, they're okay. And I finally see something coming through the woods. It was just a heat signature, and it was all the leaves and twigs and trees and brush. I was just seeing bits and pieces, but I thought, okay, they're here. I think this is them. Who else would be out in the woods at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night? Right, yeah. So, it wasn't them. It was the Sasquatch. Okay. And it came around the corner, and it took one step, and all of us were sitting there, and I went, now, I don't think anybody else had a thermal. I think I was the only one that had a thermal. But they all went, what? And by then, the being knew we were there. It walked right on top of us, and it didn't see us. We were about 75 feet away. And so it took one step. On the second step, when we all went, it vanished. It just exploded like a flash bulb going off at night. I was the only one looking. Of course, I wasn't recording, trying to save my battery. Don't ever do that if you ever go out. Waste your money on batteries, because the things you don't record are the things you'll regret.
Absolutely.
For quite a while. Anyway, so it was like a flash bulb went off, and it was just spots in front of my eyes. You know how the firecracker goes off in the middle of the night, and you're right in front of you. You can't see, and you're
you get that night blindness.
And the whole thing. So, long story short, the people that were bringing me along in the organization were all ape only. Not a cause that I supported at the time, but that's all I had because I didn't know anything. And they were, and so if you think there's something else out there, just forget it. It's stupid. They're just a dumb ape. And if they disappeared just because you panicked and didn't see it, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Well, when I saw what I saw, I went to the dark side, and I haven't been back.
Sure.
Because, and ape only answers a very few questions.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Any kind of And my whole thing, I've written 4 books, and what I put in the book for everyone to read at all times, considering a theory is not believing. Nobody has to know. Be our little secret that no one knows you're believing the boogeyman. But because the ridicule was just downright hateful from some of these guys. I mean, I've come to not like a couple of them really badly because they were just not nice people, and just ridiculed and mocked everybody. Campers, expedition goers, and researchers like myself included. They didn't care. You guys, there's nothing, So anyway, but I ended up leading 4 expeditions for BFRO. The last was 2019 in Illinois, Trail of Tears.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So it
and
was
BFRO is and some of our audience probably knows who they are, but that's kind of the I mean, gosh, if you got to pick out an organization, that's probably one of the more leading ones for Bigfoot research in general, wouldn't you say?
well. I don't know if they're doing the research. Some of the researchers might be doing it, but I think there's far more many researchers that are not part of BFRO.
Okay.
Okay.
Or mostly just we got a group. I got a posse. I've
Yeah.
got
Right.
7 or 8 people. Men and women that we all hung out. We go squatching together, but you're not organized.
Sure. Yeah, I was
So, but there's a lot of people doing really good work.
Sure.
And I got into the habituation because it was just so fascinating. And for those that don't understand my theory of habituation, it is the Sasquatch live with other people on their property. They live, sleep, reproduce, hunt, drink. All humans, they see them. I mean, they know they're there. They will see each other and interact on occasion when and if you want. But it just got me thinking. I think all these people that are calling me with these reports, well, they were telling me stuff, but they weren't telling me everything I could kind of, I just know they weren't BSing me. They just weren't coming. They were asking questions that had nothing to do with their original report. Like they say, well, we saw one. Back then, 50% of all sightings were highway crossings, going across a road. You rode it, I see a Sasquatch going across at midnight. That was every other report was one of those, But the reports, the questions they were asking had nothing to do with what they had originally called in as a report. And that did happen, but they were far more interested in some other things. I'm going, I've got to ask a couple of these people. So I just call them, if we can talk off the record. And I say, you're asking all these questions. Have you had some other experience? You don't have to give your name. I mean, I have your name and location, but I'm not going to post it. If you don't want it, post it. But if you got something that you want to tell me, and they did by far. I had, in 5 years, actually 4 years, I wrote 5 books.
Wow.
Because the reports were just the tip of the iceberg.
Sure.
People started telling me the stuff that is going on,
Yeah,
and so that's where the books came from, and I've got to be friends with many of these people. I go out and spend a weekend with them, spend a day, spend an evening, go out, hang out, see what's going on, and if I see something, great. If not, great. I don't bear equipment or anything with me because they got their cameras up and everything. Sasquatch know who I am, and they know you're a researcher. They're not stupid,
Yeah.
and so they know you're pulling in. They already know they know who I am anyway. I mean, I've made contact with them on cerebral, paranormal, quantum level, and so they do know who I am, and so when they see me coming, I'm going to respect their relationship with the humans And I'm respecting the relationship of the humans with the Sasquatch. I'm not going to bring all my gear and, that's stupid. You've got a couple of cameras laying around. Why would I do that? I just want to see and hear and experience, if I can, what you're telling me about, the things that are in the books, and everything in the books. I have no fiction in my books. They're all real people, real events, real experiences. Some are generational. Well, the home or the property is handed down to the grandkids who used to go see the Sasquatch when they were little kids, the grandma and grandpas, and now they're going to take over their house since they're no longer here or in the nursing home, and the thing repeats itself. With several families, about 3 or 4, it's generational. 30,
Interesting.
40 years of continuous.
Sure.
And I mean, there's a lot of, it's all trust.
Right.
There's no guns, there's no rifles. I mean, they know we hunt to feed, but they don't want us, polluting the earth. They don't want us just, killing for trophies. If you got to kill to feed your family, of course, they take down deer and every other thing in the world, but there's no waste. You don't see deer heads up on the sides of trees.
Right.
Wearing, Tarzan loincloths made out of deer. You just don't, because it's eat,
Survive. Yeah.
eat, survive,
Right.
sleep, dream, whatever. That's it. And and reproduce and all that. So, but that's what got me. And some of the stories, and I've sent you guys. I emailed you some pictures.
Yeah, I was looking at those.
Did you get them?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You see some of this stuff, and you just go, "Oh my God!" And I've sat on the porch with a couple of my families, and
Well-
what they'll do on a Saturday night is get a couple of 12 packs, ice them down, put them on a cooler. We're sitting on the front porch, and the one family in particular I'm thinking of, about 45, 50 feet across the driveway, we were throwing sticks and rocks in the night, and they were throwing them back.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
I called my name out, and they called me back in my exact voice.
That's
Really like a mimic.
yeah.
Yeah, they mimic like bizarre. I'd heard owls, car engines. I mean, they can mimic, and they do. And I have several families that where the husband goes off to work during the day and the wife's out farting around, like garden or the vegetables and stuff. And she will hear her husband calling her name.
Hmm.
That's
Or-
interesting.
Conversely, you'll hear the wife calling the husband's name if someone's not there in their exact voice, and they're nowhere near. They're nowhere around. It's a Sasquatch
amazing.
jacking with them.
Wow, that's interesting. That's the first time I've heard
Yeah,
that actually.
it's the mimic part for sure.
Yeah.
Mimicry. If you look into mimicry, I had a guy, a really nice guy. He's passed away. Very, very Tom Rue, R-U-H. He was a nuclear scientist, I believe, but he was a fanatic about Sasquatch. He was morbidly obese, and he was on an oxygen tank. So when we went out at night, he would man the van. He would stay in the van and tell us for stuff to look out for, or if something was going on. We got a panic call from him one night. I said, "You guys got to get over here. The cops are here, or the conservation offices, because a car just pulled up behind me, and the door slammed, and I hear crunching. Y'all need to get here. I don't know what to do." We get there. We were like 5-7 minutes away. We were in the woods,
Yeah.
So we took a while to get back at night. There's nothing there.
Huh.
It
That's
was
weird.
the Sasquatch.
Like a car door?
Yeah.
How would they even do that?
I mean, obviously they've got the signature down as far as like the noise and the
Like a
And-
parrot almost.
yeah, almost like that in a way. Yeah.
There's the theories they may have 2 sets of vocal cords, which I would
Yeah, actually,
kind of agree that's probably a possibility, because we don't know.
we
Yeah.
spoke
Somebody
with
knows. The government knows, but we don't know. But to have, and I had a friend that I hung out with a lot when I was, teenager hunting and fishing. He could open his mouth and talk and whistle at the same time.
It's just crazy.
Kind of this throaty, almost like a warbling. He would be, Carter, come over here. It would be going on at the same time.
Crazy.
It was Gordon. It was just the creepiest thing, but he could do that.
Yeah.
It was something he just found that he could do. He didn't even know how or why. He just, he thought everybody could do it.
Yeah.
Right. That's amazing.
So it's not a stretch.
Sure.
He did it with one set of vocal cords.
Right.
So imagine what they can do with two.
Well, we interviewed Ron Moorhead, and he was talking about the Sierra sounds, and when we listened to that, it makes perfect sense that they could
They were like more like a clicking.
Yeah, there was like a click, and then of course there was vocalizations and a few other things. So
But the car door and like a car
Yeah.
engine, that's like beyond.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I've heard, tractors, cars. They can mimic a human's exact voice.
that's
Wow.
quite amazing.
We don't have a chance.
No, no, we do
They can
not.
do that,
So Carter, I got a question for you that and I know that this is kind of a pretty, because you kind of alluded to it before. It always seems to be, now we are far from Bigfoot experts. In fact, that's one of the things that we're really excited to talk to you and a few other people that we've spoken with. Obviously, we deal a lot with more, ghost and UFO type stuff, but we're fascinated by the Bigfoot phenomena. But it seems like there's always a camp of, you kind of alluded to primate, and then there's kind of like an interdimensional type, aspect to it as well. And we spoke with Simeon Hine about that too, a little bit about how, you look at the whole quantum physics part of it, and you look at all these different things. And I know, so your books start from, I know you go 1 through 4. So if I remember correctly, it's I had it written down there. So it's evidence of an enigma, and it's 1 through 4. Do you kind of go through kind of like an epilogue of that, how you started? Did you originally start it with more like a primate feel, or did it just sort of evolve, or how did that go?
It all evolved. And see, I had already come to Jesus with the paranormal quantum thing when I started the books. Again, all this started for me 2011, 12, somewhere. I didn't start writing the books to 2020, 2021, right during COVID. I couldn't go anywhere. So it was a perfect opportunity for me to sit on my butt and go through all my reports. So my first book, and Ron Moorhead did do the
forward
commentary.
The commentary, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
That kind of started out as a primer, like it's basic footprint technology, basic tree structure, tree snaps, gifting, a few of my reports. And about halfway through this book, all these other books were writing themselves in my head. I was about to explode. I had to. So this is like, if you don't know a whole lot about, it covers a little bit of everything, just so you kind of know. But these are really some of the photos in there. If you've looked at them, there's good stuff.
The face one is amazing. We're looking at that right now, and
pop it up on the so I could tell everybody.
yeah,
pop it
let
up.
me gosh, if I remember how to get this in here right. Of course,
But I didn't gradually. I made it clear from the get-go that I'm not an aper. I am a believer of paranormal / quantum / paranormal, metaphysical, whatever you want to call it. There's, what I've seen, what I've heard, what other people have told me, and I've seen some bizarre stuff, and heard it. And so you just go, this is somebody with a high intelligence messing with me. Yeah. This is all, it's fascinating. Yeah, okay. This family, they grow a lot of vegetables. They have a lot of Quonset huts, they're the produce, for farmers markets and stuff. And they cover all the they're curved, and they cover them all with the heavy plastic, and then they run propane tanks, heaters, but they build 2 of them close, and they put the heater right in between outside and pipes going in the side of each of these. And that's how they keep the vegetables from freezing in the winter. And this is the condensation.
Just
Oh, wow. Okay.
This dummy, the Sasquatch. This is a funny story. The kid that kind of runs the operation, I think he's in his mid-20s. He's really a sharp kid. He works his butt off. They see the Sasquatch often around their property. It's not just know that anything I'm showing you, none of this is a surprise to anybody on the property. They're going, oh, that's the 7-foot juvenile. I know who he is. We call him whatever they call him.
Wow.
So they get all their food starting to disappear, and they couldn't tell how people were getting in. They thought it was a neighbor because they have some neighbors that are of ill repute. And so they thought it was them because they didn't think the Sasquatch people would be doing that to them, honestly, But the juveniles were.
Okay.
So they put up a motion light after enough of this went on. He said, okay, I'm tired of this. So they put up a motion light. It goes off one night about 11 o'clock, 11:30, and he grabs his phone, which is his flashlight and his phone. He runs out there, and he about halfway there, he hears all this incredible screaming and howling coming from the woods to his right. And the Quonset hut of the produce house is right straight ahead of him. And then as he gets about halfway more closer to it after that, he hears all this blood-curdling screaming going off of the woods to the left. And then here's the best part. When he gets right up to the door, he hears the screaming coming from inside. The little fart was caught in there, and he didn't know what to do, and he didn't really want to tear it up because they do respect the property of the humans. He could have just blown right through that plastic, and but anyway. So what they were doing was putting their heads and faces up
against the plastic.
And looking for the humans.
And what's interesting about it is you can, and for those of you who are listening to it, obviously, if you want to watch the video of it as well, but we'll put pictures up on the website. But when you look at it, you can see hair. I mean, you can make out.
I've got all kinds of stuff like this: fingerprints, handprints.
Yeah.
But if you blow it up and make sure you get the copyright stuff on there when
Yeah.
put it
sure.
out. But you can see the hair. It almost kind of reminds me of a Steppenwolf album from way back.
Yeah, actually it does. You're
when
right.
I thought about that, I was going, Steppenwolf, John Kay. But that's what I thought. But you can see the lips, the chin, the nostrils,
The nostrils,
the nose.
Yeah.
There's no eyes because they're sunken
in. Yeah.
and it's like you couldn't ask for a better gift.
No. I mean, that's
That's
literally a footprint type. I mean, there's so much detail in it.
Yeah, there is.
And there's a picture I didn't send you, but there's a door that goes in, and there's a handprint up next to the door where he had been looking and pushing
Oh,
up
okay.
Okay.
Now, here's the best story. Not this night, but a few nights afterwards, he caught him in there again, and he ran past him, and they brushed. They brushed each other's chest to chest. He turned this way to get, because the juvenile was coming through full steam and full ahead. He wasn't like being sashaying around. I'm gonna run through here. I'll tear your ass up. I don't care.
Right? Yeah.
Excuse my friends.
Oh, you're good.
So that's what. And they have these stories.
Wow.
All over the place.
It's amazing. Yeah.
It just yeah. And this family was about 2 months ago. The kid I was telling you about called me. I said, I got some pictures I want to send you and take a look. Broad daylight, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Same exact Quonset hut he was in. Produce house, the greenhouse. He sees the dog man. And he's not yanking
if you know these people, they're good Christian people. That they've got a lot of secrets. I dealt with their uncle and for other parts of the family, their grandfather who had 2 Class A's. These people were like Sasquatch magnets. They just attract them,
Yeah.
you know. So he's in there trimming some of the plants and shrubs and stuff in there, whatever he's doing with his the garden, and he sees this dog man with the ears, and it's up poking little tiny holes in the plastic, like it's never seen or touched plastic.
That's interesting.
And I've got the photos. I didn't want to drown it because we're this is a short show, but
Yeah.
it was doing just
Poking
in that
holes.
long, sinewy nail, kind of like Addams Family type stuff, or monster movie. And then it took, when it had done this 3 or 4 times, it took the main claw and just cut about a 1 foot, 16-inch long slice out of the plastic. Just sliced it.
And that sounds like a horror movie, right?
It does actually.
It wasn't like
Right.
he had seen my guy before. I'm imagining, but he looked at him as like, yeah, I'm gonna go about my business. I'm gonna go play with my plastic.
Right.
It was like a non-event
Well, and
for
it,
the
it,
dog man.
Yeah.
it was so original to them, that he's looking at it and he's playing with it that, it's such a, you got to think, if you weren't around plastics and if you weren't,
Well, yeah. It's like a toddler playing with something.
exactly, it's
Yeah.
like, okay. Yeah.
Like a balloon or something, but he had never seen it. And it turns out about 2 or 3 weeks before that, they had called me about there's a big silver mine out where they're at. And next to that is a big giant hog farm. And somebody had reported a bunch of baby hogs. A lot of the baby hogs were being taken shortly after birth. And they found stacks and stacks of the baby hog bones in these caves that are the leftover caves of the silver mine operation that are no longer producing. So, but they were stacked, not just thrown in.
You're
They're
right.
like
Right.
Stacked.
Yeah, there was an actual methodical presence to move
thought
with
process.
right, a thought
And
process.
so,
Hmm.
what do you
Weird.
do with that? I know my people, and so I believe them, and
Yeah.
I've heard from others in the area. I'm being vague about the general area because
Sure.
trying to protect
No, that,
Of course.
yeah,
property
you
and
should
everything.
be.
Yeah.
But it's this is every day for these people.
Right.
Do you find, and I've asked this of a couple of other researchers, do you find, since we're talking about a family, and you see this also with ufology, and you see this with even with ghosts and the paranormal with that in that regard, but do you find that certain families are just like almost like it's generational, or
It
they're
is.
right,
No, it is. It's well, Grandpa used to talk about this big hairy man, or my aunt used to talk about these hairy gorilla types that they would feed their leftovers to, and you hear that as a child growing up. It's in the family. It's my aunt, my grandma, my grandpa, whatever it is, and then suddenly you're inheriting their property or have the option,
Yeah.
and maybe you go visit a few times and you experience it yourself, and so you're like, this is just creepy and fascinating at the same time.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
You
it's
know.
always interesting too because whenever I talk to people on anything having to do with paranormal, you often say, well, people say these things to get, rich and famous, which by the way, let me break that myth. Nobody in the paranormal is getting rich and famous. But there's always like this thing of, okay, sure, that it brought a lot of attention to them, but they don't realize that they stand to lose so much from sharing this type of thing because people start to think of them as, okay, well, they're crazy or whatever have you. And then you look at like places like we're at in Missouri, rural Missouri, where these are salt of the earth people. They're just out there homesteading, trying to work the land, do their
Take care of
thing,
their family.
right? Take
Yeah.
care of their family.
Sure.
Then they, from a first certain, don't want to. And
Draw
I know-
attention.
Right, exactly. The last thing they're looking for
Yeah.
is drawing attention. So when you run
Yeah.
into this, it's always amazing that it's generational and that sort of thing.
It's what is, it's flattering for me is that they trust me. I mean, I can
Mhm.
say, I won't do this. And there's a couple of sleazy guys working this state that are trying to get onto properties and give locations. And I'll leave it at that. The Sasquatch world, paranormal world, in a nutshell, is kind of not a great place. Everybody wants to be somebody. It's a sad state of affairs. Everybody wants to get the body and the big bounty for the millions of dollars to find a body or whatever. It's just, it's hard to get real work done. So gladly, I wasn't out investigating a report because I was just, instead of that, I just go visit my families when they want to have me over, and I'll go spend a day or two. They send me some bizarre photos. I mean, some of the stuff I get is just off the charts.
Oh, I bet.
But hey, the two photos I sent
let
you
me
of
get over
the,
there. So you had a wood structure one, which let me pull that up here real quick.
that's the cross.
Right, the cross.
The one I really want to get to is the Enigma book cover, where the guy is checking his
You're in all
with the handprint with a hand photo. That book right there.
this one
I
here.
sent that one over.
I think you got a bigger one of it. Let me get to that here.
Yeah, I did. I said
There it is. There it is. Yeah.
Okay, this will blow your mind.
Wow.
Okay, so
Whoa.
look what time it is when he is. What the preacher is doing, it's the town preacher. What he's doing is going out and just checking cameras. He's not hunting or anything. He's just checking his cameras and stuff. They got about 32 cameras on this property. So just checking them and stuff, see if you need any batteries or one of them's falling off. Anyway, look what time that is.
Yeah.
Tell me what time.
It looks like 3:12. He's there at, so basically he's there at 3:12:36 in the afternoon.
3:12:36 in the afternoon.
Right.
Now, look very carefully at the tree that's horizontal. It's on the ground behind him.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, look at the shadow, how sharp it is. Look at the trees all behind him in the background. They're all standing straight up. Everything's fine. Now, 4 seconds later, same camera. Tell me what time it is.
Is literally it's 3:12.
12:40.
You're right. It is 4 seconds right after.
And the trees are
This
bent.
being
And the
appeared
tree
4
is bent.
seconds after he had tripped the camera.
It's amazing.
Notice the shadow.
Yeah.
This Sasquatch, I'm going to call it, bumped the camera because it has changed the angle that the camera was facing.
Right.
And so the shadow placement is different. That's why that shadow is off.
Okay.
Look at the trees in the background.
Yeah, because the trees look different. They looked like they were kind of
They're
curved.
Blowing. It's not
Yeah.
windy.
Yeah.
It's not blowing.
It's
he
bent
bumped
to
the
one side.
camera.
Oh, okay. I see.
So it's an artifact of it being. I
Yes.
gotcha. Okay.
And this is a man of God. He's a preacher, and he believes, as I do, that there's no way he missed that. He didn't see it. He didn't hear it. He didn't sense it. It was when he went and got the cards off the cameras a few days later. And that year is not correct. That year is 2022.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The year is always off, but the clock part is always working. If you have a trail camera, you know they are.
Oh yeah.
So what do you
GoPro's the
do
same
with
way.
that?
What do you
He
do with
just
that?
materialized or came out of a portal. I mean, there's no way a being that size would just
In 4 seconds.
And I think what
and you
gets
not hear it or see it.
Right.
what gets
You know what I
me
mean?
the most out of that is, and guys, again, if you're listening to it, by all means, please, we'll put it on the website, but maybe take a second and watch the video too. The hand, you can tell just by the proportions of. So you're looking
The
at
fingers.
right. The
huge.
fingers are enormous, and you can tell like the knuckling and everything.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's got it bent at an angle, And of course, I'm doing my hand in a way that nobody else could see, but
It's the nails almost look curved.
right.
Yeah.
I was about to say
hair.
that.
And of course, we don't know what a juvenile hand looks like. And we later, year and a half, 2 years later, we went out to film with a film crew out of New York. They were looking to film a creature that's supposed to be down in the southwest of United States, like a gowrow or a rougarou.
Yeah, okay.
And so these fingerprints, these prints, these nails, they just look weird, but it could just be that this is a deformed hand, or it's a hand of a juvenile who's hasn't formed itself yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
I went Google Lens with these. I looked all over the place to see if I could find any forgery, anything that looked remotely. I found nothing. In fact, the film crew that came out, because I had just got these photos. I had just met these people
Okay.
like a couple of weeks before. Ironic. And they gave me these photos, and these guys, they heard about me from somebody else, gave them my number, and I said, they were talking about maybe coming out to another witness in the same state, but they refused because they wanted a lot of money. And so they called me because I had also had their report published. So he called me, and I said, I tell you what, you can do me a big favor, I'll do you a big favor. You take a look at this photo, and you tell me if it's fake or if it's real, or you can find any way if it's been altered.
Yeah,
anything.
for sure.
And they called back within the hour, said, we're on our way.
Wow.
It was just like,
Fascinating.
but I guess it's right.
Yeah. I guess you passed the litmus test on that.
But, and it was, the film got made, but it never got put out because of infighting with the production company. That's a whole nother story. Sure. The whole thing is people are coming out of the woodwork with this stuff because they're not afraid to talk to somebody they can finally trust.
Right.
And
Exactly.
when these people met me, they said, when they first met me, they goes, oh my God, I'm so glad you're not like the guy from Discovery Channel, because they met a guy that came out from Discovery Channel. He had a van, it was bright orange, it was wrapped in all these lights and decals and stickers. Look at me, Discovery, both Bigfoot researching. They were just like, oh my God, it's like that we don't
Like
want
a beacon.
Yeah, we don't want this. We don't want that. They were just mortified,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but that's these people are just
Everyday
and this is
people.
every day of their life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I asked you, hey, Logan, Nicole, what'd y'all do last Tuesday, 2 weeks ago?
Shit, I got to be honest with you, Carter. I don't know what I did 15 minutes ago, but yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, you pooped and ate and slept.
Pretty much, yeah.
At least those three things.
Yeah.
And probably made a couple of bucks. But I won't hear from them for a while, and I'll call them or they'll call me. Just same ring. I hadn't heard from you. What's going on? And I'd say, well, just been kind of working on the book, or been talking to some other witnesses, and just doing honeydew stuff. Cut the yard, just being old fart. And I said, what's been going on with you guys? Well, we bought a new car. We changed the oil in the tractor. That was a deal. And and went to Walmart, and Irene got some new clothes. And we saw the juvenile Sasquatch that we saw born about 4 years ago. Do we tell you that?
Wow. Like just
No.
drops it into conversation.
Like it's nothing.
It is that routine.
Right.
to them.
Yeah.
If you can just imagine, not everything is like, I just saw a juvenile Sasquatch 10 feet away.
Right.
But we gifted them, or we saw one run across our field, chasing a deer, or they just talk about a day in the life. But it's just like going to the bathroom.
Mhm.
I don't tell you every time because it's the same thing every time.
Yeah.
Right. They're
you know, it
literally
becomes,
cohabitating with these.
Yeah, they're
yeah,
living
it
with
just
them. Yeah.
becomes, you know, and it's different things with different families. You know, the interactions are as often or as few as both parties wish.
Okay.
It's never a forced thing, and trust has to be given and taken in great chunks, you
Right.
know, because you could be setting them up,
Yeah.
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 you know, to kill one. I
Right.
mean,
For sure.
there's the people that are that way. There's the pro kill camp, you know. So, but it's just a fascinating thing that I've walked into, and
It's
this just
amazing.
it keeps on giving. You want to show that cross?
Yeah, I'm gonna get to the fact I was just getting ready to key that up. Which, we've seen some structures before. Let me throw this up here real quick. But what gets me about this is the height.
Oh yeah.
So
Awesome story.
yeah,
It'll explain itself in a heartbeat. You probably already think about it. 75 feet to the left of me is a Civil War era cemetery.
Okay.
Gravestones are in the very late 17s to mid 1800s. A lot of children, you know, and that kind of stuff. Nobody's been buried there for a while, but the family members, the great grandchildren, the great grandchildren, you know, all that, they come and put flowers and stuff because there's regular things. There's a lot of plastic flowers, but there's just kind of random. But people are still coming because great grandpa Jones is buried over here, and
Mm-hmm.
wherever this was. So I see this, and that is 11 to 13 feet in the air, and is about 11
Wild.
feet long. It did not fall. It was, if you see the right end, is burnt.
Right. Yeah.
It was on the ground because it was lifted recently because the ground print where it was, but it was laid up there. You know, if something that size is falling horizontally, it's going to take out everything on the way down.
Sure.
It's not going
Oh,
to
yeah.
stop it.
absolutely. I
It
mean, it's
was
not a
put
small
right
piece
there,
of wood.
That's
and I think they were commemorating our relationship with death. They would never, ever mark their graves.
Right.
I've got a killer story about that. We don't have time, about the marking Sasquatch not marking their graves and passing it on to the families in a very, very poignant way. It's a really cool story. It's a true story, of course, but it's really cool. But this was, I got called by a sheriff. He called in a report. He and his uncle had seen two Sasquatch watching them fish from across the river. I can't remember the river. I'd tell you if I could. It was, almost halfway to Springfield, but a little west. Little small town sheriff guy. He called because he had seen one. He wanted to call in the report. He told me about, well, there's some other really good areas. And I went, and so me and my partner at the time, we went down there to check out the river where he has seen it. And he showed us where it was. And, but anyway, that's how you do research. You know, you go get your hands dirty, you go down there and talk to them. You know, you don't just call them and they, well, yeah, I've got a dentist appointment. I can't get down there. But, you know, I have a very understanding wife, and I've met many of my people. I drove thousands of miles, and I'm no hero. It was just eating me up. I couldn't get enough, and it was producing. It's just what I thought it would be. You know, these are just, you know, benevolent, peaceful beings, and you know there are bad ones, just like there are bad people here. And you know, the further more isolated you get in the woods, I'm talking about, you know, upper northwest Canada, Greenland, all that, they get pretty testy. They're not used to seeing people. They're, you know, I couldn't guarantee that they would be the kind of people you want to meet, you know, because they don't have to mess with us. Sure. But anyway, they were commemorating that relationship. And I've taken reports, and other people hearing this or other researchers will go, yeah, I get you. have taken reports of Sasquatch watching funerals
Really
or being seen watching from a distance.
interested in our
Yeah.
practice
Yeah.
of death.
Barry, don't put a headstone on that. They're gonna dig it up and
Right.
sell it to the government. Don't do it.
I think the part that's kind of blown me away, not just the size. I mean, granted, the size it kind of speaks for itself, but
It's a cross.
it's a cross.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, the weight of that thing is not.
Oh, no.
It's heavy, but look how proportionately it's on there.
Yeah.
Like I'm guarantee you, if you went a foot in either direction, that thing's not staying up.
It would topple.
It would topple. So
Yeah, no, it's and if you you got the photo, you can play with it later on, but you can zoom that up and you'll go, it was placed. It
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
just, and
No
there's no
question.
burn marks on any of those trees that are vertical. So it wasn't part of this batch that burned. It was taken from on the ground and put up there, and it was a perfect,
Wow.
memoir of our relationship with death.
it's amazing.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Well, it's just, that's my theory, of course. Someone else would be going, that just fell. Come on, man.
I
You
mean,
drunk, you're stoned.
I look at it this way. You got to look at both sides. Sure, I get it. I'm a skeptic at heart.
Yeah.
But at some point you have to go, okay, with all things being fair, if this was a human that went in there and did it, first
Why?
of all, why? Yeah. Second of all, I mean, honestly, it's so perfect that I don't even think we could do that. We'd find a way to mess that
Here's
up.
the thing
Not without a
with
machine.
hoaxing. If I'm going to go to that trouble, I'm going to be darn sure I am there when I screw with people.
Right.
When they go, oh my God, honey, oh my God, look at that. It's God and Jesus speaking to you. Whatever goes on, but I wouldn't do that and just walk away from it.
Right.
That's just me. I've got to get my jollies. If I'm going to prank somebody,
Well, because you're going
Yeah.
through it. I mean, I dare to say it, but you're going through a shit ton of effort to try to get that thing up there.
yeah,
You're going to
And
stick
for-
around.
yeah, I would stick around. And so, but it's just, you have to, and I don't want it to be what I think it is.
Right.
It just is.
It just is.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
The horizontal, it's a cross, and I didn't frame it that way. It just came out that way. And the cemetery is 150 years old. It's 75 feet down the trail, and it just is what it is.
It's fascinating. Yeah, I
And
think
we've heard that connection before about them and cemeteries.
Mhm.
They are usually seen around cemeteries.
we have heard that before.
Uh-huh.
It's wild.
You're just going, you stupid humans. Why are you marking the graves?
Yeah.
They're going to let them take your little puppy.
Right?
Yeah.
No kidding.
I never really thought about that before. That's
Mm.
true.
Yeah.
That's how they would
Wild.
see it. Hmm.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about the books now that we've got a spot here to kind of bring it along. Okay, yeah. So that's the Habituations, right?
Yeah, that's number 4.
That's number 4. Okay.
3.
That
That
hand.
amazing
That's
hand.
the hand.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I forgot the face on the.
Okay.
Oh,
right.
cool.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
In fact, I should charge twice for that book.
You should.
This one here, this was a moment where I made contact with them on a, probably a metaphysical, spiritual level, or they come to me,
Sure.
and then this is the first one.
Right.
Ron Moriarty's got some of his 2 cents in there, 2.5, 3, 4 cents, I think he's got in there.
Ron has a lot of sense, so I
Yes,
wouldn't be
he's up-
surprised.
This is another one.
Baptized by abduction.
Oh, okay, yeah. Huh.
That's a whole other story,
Well-
of my past.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, we'll
We need to have you
Hey,
back then
yes,
and talk about
Yeah,
that one.
it's I'm not trying to sell a book or anything. Well, I am, but I'm not. But
Sure.
it's
sell
I'm
books, of course.
73. I found out when I was 53. It happened in 1958 and went all the way through.
Really?
Mm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna need to have you.
Yeah,
on-
that'll be it.
It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
It's just totally bonkers.
Fast.
And I had witnesses that we all got hypnotized together.
Okay.
And it was accidental. We were trying to find out if we had past lives.
Okay. Yeah.
It was just all, we were just on a lark. I picked up a phone book and called somebody, and we found somebody, and I drove out, and we all went out there to her studio. And I was the last to go, and everybody had past lives. They were talking about their little lives and everything. Then I just start talking like an 8-year-old kid and bawling my brains out.
Oh my gosh. That's the one thing that terrifies. Like, I want to do that too, but I'm like, what if this has happened?
Yeah,
well, you want to get it out of your system, because if you
Yeah.
carry it around, it's just dead negative way. You don't want.
For
Just,
sure.
You find out. You don't have to do anything with it if you don't want to, but at least find out.
Yeah.
Next thing I'll uncork something, I'll never be able to stick back in. But
Yeah.
well,
I used to eat my boogers when I was 9.
Oh,
my
I-
God.
I
That-
have no doubt
Erase
in the
that.
world
Erase
that
that. It didn't
happens.
happen.
Carter, there's before we let you go, there's one thing I usually like to talk to people that have a pretty big vast wealth of information, and I always laugh because we always say our moms watch this show and they listen to this show, and my mom, I love her to death, but she will go, well, she'll ask me questions that I think are very rudimentary, but then I got to realize, okay, we're in this all day long, we deal with the paranormal constantly. And for somebody who's not, like your mom or my mom,
Mm-hmm.
what is the biggest misconception that you would tell somebody that first of all, you always hear, why don't we hear see a body, all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. And we don't need to talk about that if you don't want to, but what is the one biggest misconception that you would like to see people kind of take home with that?
Every human on the planet has been lied to since the day they were born until they're 18 to 22 years old, depending on if they finish school or not. The government knows the government's lying. The churches, science, all the sciences. Everybody knows except us poor lemmings, taxpayers, So if you see or hear something and you're already programmed subliminally, you have no control over it, to go, oh, that must have been a bead. Or that must have been an owl, or that must have been a monkey that got away, or that was a monkey, But you're programmed to discount anything that you find off. And so there's nothing wrong with you changing your mind if you'd want to look into things, but that's the whole thing. Somebody sees something and they just think, I must have been seeing things, and you just keep going. Whatever it was a blip on your day's life, and you just go on and you think nothing of it. That's the one thing. People tell you things, this, that. Well, that's what they believe. You got to think and see and experience for yourself, And maybe you don't care about that stuff. It's perfectly fine. But there's other things going on the planet, and I'm just one of those. I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. That's
I
true.
got too much time on my hands. I got too much time on my hands too.
I wish I had a little more.
Yeah, we need a little bit more time.
Yeah, but hey, put my my website or my email on there if anyone wants to contact, or if they want to buy books.
Yeah,
if you
for
buy-
sure. And we'll have it on the screen during our
Okay.
interview, so they'll be able to reach out to you.
Mhm.
On that note, what do you kind of got coming up in the next? We're not 100% sure. Probably in the next few weeks this will come out, but what do you kind of got coming up?
I'm doing Spaced Out Radio Friday night, and then I've got a podcast on July the 7th, and then I've got one on the 23rd, and that's all till August.
Oh,
Okay.
well, that's a good deal. Well, Carter, thank you
Yeah,
so much
thank
for
you so
coming
much.
on.
It was a blast, guys.
yeah.
It was really great.
Absolutely.
So which one's Logan and which one's Nicole?
I'm Logan.
Just kidding.
Cool.
I could be a Nicole.
You're already programmed.
I mean, I was programmed a long time ago. I already know that. Yeah.
However old you are, that's when you were programmed. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, Carter, hey, thanks a lot. We appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
You too, guys. Thanks a lot for having me.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks. Hey, thanks, Carter. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you, Carter.
Yeah, it's again, guys, we were so happy to have him. He's got he's got so much research, and I think the part
Mhm.
that I like the most is it's sort of now, of course, I kind of have I wouldn't say a scientific mind, but I try to think about things more in a skeptical scientific method. And what he's done is he's taken his data set and it's been the same. So he's kind of got the same,
Mm-hmm.
you know, y- that's the big thing with science, is being able to replicate it and carry it through, through several different data points. And he's been able to do that because he's working with certain families, and just to come up with some of the stuff and the things that they've seen. And I think what blows me away is the habitation,
Yeah, no kidding. And you don't hear that very
Mm-mm.
often. And maybe it's just because people are too scared to talk, and that's probably what it is.
Mm.
But especially, him living in Missouri, and we are in Missouri, people kind of keep to themselves,
Yeah.
especially in those rural areas. And they'll tell you about stuff if they know you and they trust you.
Right.
But if they don't, they're not
They
going to
get
say
nothing.
anything. Yeah. So I totally get what he's saying because I'm from here.
Yeah.
My whole family's from here. I have family that live in areas that he's talking about.
Mhm.
So it is very interesting to me.
It is interesting.
Mhm.
And you're right. Most of the people you run into, there's a couple of things that they're very, very passionate about. They're passionate about like their truck or their tractor, equipment and things like that. And then they're very passionate about telling you how little they paid for it. And that's about it.
We got to tell people about the deals you get.
I gave this for that. No.
That's my favorite thing.
Hey.
Yeah, and I only paid this.
Yeah, and I only paid that. It's the best. But it's true though, because they're very
Well,
close
yeah.
to the vest,
And what I find interesting also is like a lot of these people are probably living out where they've got lots of acreage and they're backed up to the woods. I'm going
Mhm.
to just assume.
Right.
But the mimicking
Yeah.
of the sounds,
Never heard
car
of this.
doors, engines, tractors,
Mhm.
that's interesting to me because they're probably right there in the wood line and that's what they're hearing come from the property. So that's what they're
crazy.
mimicking. That's very, because he doesn't talk about like highway noise or anything like that.
Mhm.
So it's something they can hear from the property line.
It's amazing.
Mm.
And you always hear about, obviously there's like we said in the interview, there's several camps. People that think about primate, and then there's people that think of it and think of Bigfoot as more of an interdimensional creature, potentially in outer space from doesn't sound like I'm in the 50s. Here, see, in outer space. But that they're aliens or something like that. And I mean, first of all, why can't all these things be true at the same time? But
Yeah.
it's just
I mean, I think the more you learn, the more your opinion changes. Like, I think when I first started out, I never really thought it was an ape,
no,
but I have definitely changed my perspective on things that I have
Yeah.
heard.
of course.
I'm more in the camp of the interdimensional because at first I was like, well, maybe it's kind of an alien.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on that kick for a while. But now I think it's just an interdimensional being
Right. that
can come and go like aliens can come and go. And that is my opinion as of this exact
Right.
moment.
Give it about
But-
10, 15 minutes.
I mean, the more people we talk to and the more evidence we see, I mean, who knows how it could just...
That's true.
I've never even believed it was an ape, though.
No,
It
and
doesn't-
that's true. I don't think I have either.
No.
Because first of all, it seems to be even at its lowest common denominator, it's very intelligent. I'm not saying apes aren't intelligent.
Which they
Oh,
are.
they are very intelligent, but it seems to have a different way of being able to do things that I guess categorically you don't always anticipate like a primate ape would do. But then of course there are a lot of things that they would do. I mean, it goes back to like the peanut butter and all these other things where, they open it up, and
I was like, explain that.
Yeah, so-
It's like peanut butter.
and I can't remember, was this something that Tobe sent us, or was this when we were talking with
I
Brett?
don't
or-
remember now, but
Yeah.
they scooped it up
Right.
with the fingers, but they had to be able to open the jar.
Right, they had to open up the jar. They scooped it up. Now, if memory serves, did they not put the jar or the cap back on?
I think they did.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not
An animal's not gonna.
right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that even if you taught a primate to do that, which I'm sure you probably could, but out in the wild, it just seems
Well, in the finger size.
right.
So,
And the finger size,
yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah,
No, but the cemetery thing, that I think is my favorite part of this
Yeah. that was
interview because, we've seen that on other shows that we watched talking about
Mhm.
like a connection with cemeteries and them. And I'd never really thought about that before.
Yeah,
Like they're thinking of it like, oh, they're going to be able to find your dead. Why would you mark that? That doesn't make
just
any
wild.
sense. Yeah, it, like that part kind of blew my mind, but we could probably go on
Probably could.
forever.
So guys, if you're listening to it, thank you so much. But if you have the opportunity to look at the video, please do so. And I think what we're going to start doing is on the website, I'm going to start kind of incorporating some of the, like, I guess, kind of like what we talked about and things like that. And I'll put these pictures on there so you can look at it there as well. But
order his books. But
yes,
when we were at Missouri Paracon, his was one of the last tables we got to.
Mhm.
And by then I had already bought like half my library. And I was like completely broke.
Guys, we spent a substantial amount of money there.
Yes, we did. So I had none left to buy his books. But if he's back this next year, I'll definitely, purchase from him. But I know there's got to be so much in those books. I would love to read them.
Yeah, we're going to read them. So, but guys, listen, thanks again for stopping by. And, it doesn't matter what camp you believe in or how you feel about Bigfoot. I just think that there's a lot more to say about this, and there's something, right?
There's something there.
Right. It's not just, you look at the spectrum of people that are involved in this. I mean, there's got to amount to something, right?
Yeah. Well, and the Native American legends say that they used to trade with them.
Absolutely did. Yeah.
I want to know what that looks like.
Yeah, I want to know what they
We
trade.
need to get this. We need to get this time travel thing figured out.
You're right.
I can go back and see it.
It's like, I mean, I hate to make light of it because this is my ancestry, but it's like, what could they have offered Bigfoot? I mean, were they going to give him a pelt?
Food.
Well, yeah, that's true. I guess food. That makes sense.
Food. Yeah.
I was thinking like a pelt. I'm like, what's Bigfoot going? Yeah, thanks.
No,
I don't really need
the
this.
white people were the ones that wanted it because they were cold.
Guys, seriously, I don't want to get in trouble. We're out of here. And thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.